All right. Hello, and good evening. Welcome to yet another Night Rights. It is Friday night, and we are just chilling and eventually writing. I am Jax Wolff, your hostess and pilot for the night. Hostess. We're already off to a great start. In any case, if this is your first Night Rights, it's pretty simple. Just drop into our open YouTube chat that is on actually YouTube. So if you're viewing this on B-Sky, you are only getting part of the experience. Follow that link that you're seeing in that skeet straight onto the YouTube platform where we have an open chat. You can say whatever you like so long as it's within TOS, and I will likely respond to it. As always, we also have an icebreaker of the night to help you ease into socializing. Tonight's icebreaker is pretty simple. What do your MCs do for a living? That is a salute to anybody who has manned the front lines this Black Friday. If you have, I am so sorry, and salute to you. Otherwise, if this is your first Night Rights, what we typically do within a half an hour, first half of an hour is basically for messing around, saying hi, getting to know each other, that kind of thing. From 8:30 onwards, we usually start in on our writing activities. Sometimes that is editing, at which point you will get to hear me read my stuff out loud to you and embarrass myself. You'll get to hear me rubber duck and all kinds of fun things, but because I'm not currently editing a project I am writing, instead we're doing word sprints. What that is 20 minutes of productivity, sandwiching 15-minute breaks. So you write, edit, do whatever you'd like for 20 whole minutes. And at the end of it, we stop and talk about our progress and whatever else is on our mind. If you're writing, that's pretty simple. It's just what your word count is. If you're editing, it's also word count. I like to count it however many words you've actually read. Not however many words you've actually written, but count it however you like to count it. And if you're doing anything else, just, you get to share whatever you want to do, whatever you've done, whatever you feel comfy with. So we do that 3 periods a night, starting from 8:30, and right now we are settling in. If anybody's listening out there, how is your night going? I fully admit I've only been awake for less than maybe 8 hours. clearly I needed some rest because like literally slept straight on through from like 3 in the morning as I usually do, straight on through to 1 p.m. It was good. I feel well rested, but downside is I feel like I haven't done that much today, but you know, it is what it is. I also can't believe that we are nearing the end of the month. Like, tomorrow is the last day of November. Let's see. And I feel like it's a good thing. You know, this month has been a trash fire for so many people, myself included, that it's going to be nice to move into something a little bit calmer, I think. Or at least, not necessarily calmer, but, you know, move into a brand new month, start over fresh, tabula rasa as it is. And honestly, I prefer Christmas over Halloween. I'm Jewish though, like I don't technically celebrate Christmas. Like, I can't remember the last time I've been inside a church. That's where we stand. But it's like, it's the vibe of the holiday. Like, I like Halloween too. I like autumn. Autumn is my favorite season, but like, there's something magical about Christmas. It's very commercialized, sure, but it's like, the message is all about being good to your fellow people and highlighting love and togetherness. And of course, who can resist like cozy vibes and glittery tinsel? Like, there's a little bit of superficial fun as well, but it's mostly like you set aside so much pain and suffering and try to bond with your fellow human being, or try to make the world a little bit better for people other than yourself. And it's very beautiful, and I always look forward to this time of year. Besides, like, if it's been a long year, it's like the last month of the year and we get to start all over again, and try again, you know? So I love this time of year, and I'm really excited about Christmas and just that nice holiday break too, because I am actually going to be spending some time with the family at some point, and that'll be nice. But hello, Cryptic. Welcome to the chat. I think you're the first to arrive. Like, looking at it, it seems like I don't know how accurate these stats are. Like, on OBS, I get like a little box that tells me what my live stats are, and right now it says that there are 0 viewers, but obviously there's at least 1. So I kind of assume that yeah. According to the stat block, it seems like you are the only one. But hello, how are you? You can tell that I'm stalling for time. Also, as a side note, yes, that is why it is the day after Thanksgiving and we are listening to Christmas music. I'm going to be this insufferable the entire season, the entire month, unless somebody tells me to play something else. So, even more incentive to get into the chat and tell me off, though most likely you have the freedom to just leave. So this is how I'm going to be losing viewers. I'm kidding. I love you guys. Cryptic says, nope, it says there's 0, so obviously I'm not here. JK. Well, unlike YouTube, I value you and consider you a person, so we can at least say that. Cryptic also says, I'm good, tired, but you know, that's always the case. That's fine. That's understandable. That is, chronic illness, I suppose. But yeah, we do have an icebreaker of the night, but for me, it's like, I talk so much about my own characters and what they do for a living that it's like, I don't even need to say anything. So if anybody else wants to take the icebreaker, please feel free. Otherwise, I don't know what else there is to say about Nick and Eleanor and their occupations. Like, I could go off on... I don't even know. Cryptic says, listen, you play the good Christmassy music. Thank you. Damn right, because I could very well like play Mariah Carey, but I won't subject anybody else to that. Like, I've already lost the challenge. If you're not familiar with the challenge, I don't know if I posted this to Discord, but I post on Blue Sky. New Christmas, like at the beginning of November, new Christmas challenge. Go the entire month of November into December without hearing All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey. And then the week after, I re-skeeted that skeet, and I was like, I lost that challenge because some jackass on the bus was listening to TikTok without headphones. So that's how I lost my own That is how I lost my own Mariah Carey challenge that I invented on November fucking 8th. So let this be a lesson to all of you. If you're going to be watching TikToks on the bus, wear headphones or I will hate you. Cryptic says it's the undiagnosed depression at the very least. For the icebreaker, it really depends on which whip. The entire cast of No Wrong Heroes, for example, are college students. That's fair. No, like baristas who are also paying their way through college with barista money. But also, I mean, just talking about Christmas music, personally I love all Christmas music. I joke about the Mariah Carey one because it's like the new Last Christmas. You know how there was a challenge not too long ago to essentially do the same thing as that Mariah Carey challenge that I just described, only instead of All I Want for Christmas, it's Last Christmas by Wham. And the entire challenge is called the Wham-pocalypse. So if you manage to go through the entire Christmas season without hearing Last Christmas or any cover of it, then you've won. If you lose, however, you've been Wham-pocalypsed. Cryptic says, I haven't decided how most of them are paying. I know that Thor is a Nepo baby, so he doesn't have to pay shit. God damn it, Thor. But that makes sense for Thor. If I recall correctly, No Wrong Heroes is the one in which gods are living in modern times, right? At which point, if that's the case, then I think it's funny as hell that Thor is the Nepo baby. But anyway, basically, yeah, I like Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas. It's a bop. Like, I don't care what anybody else says, it's a bop. But, it's just, like, so cliche. And also, Mariah Carey herself is not a pleasant person. Do not ask how I know this. I just happen to, like, know people who have met her in person, because that's how New York works sometimes. And apparently she's not a pleasant person. But, like, even though I don't want to give her money, it's still a bop. I'm not even gonna lie. But otherwise, like, all Christmas music, it's so good. Like, even that stupid-ass Christmas Shoes ones, and... okay, no, actually the one about children in Africa and how they don't know it's Christmas. That one is, like, so frustrating, because on the one hand, it's a good tune. On the other hand, that is so racist. Like, it's the special brand of 80s racism where you think that, where you have a bunch of people who think that they're doing good, but in actuality, they're kind of insulting an entire continent. But yeah, that one sucks. Christmas shoes, like, actually no, that one also sucks, because like it's very much like the weird right-wing I'm going to make you feel bad and be performatively good because Christian values kind of song. But like everything else, like the Christmas classics, the ones that are just having fun and understand that it's like not about feeling bad for other people, but actually doing some good in the world or enjoying the season with loved ones. Like those ones are objective bops. Or even the ones that are sort of like, yeah, this is a religious holiday, I'm acknowledging that's a religious holiday, yay religion. But not the ones that are like weird ass right wing hitty people kind of religious tunes, you know what I mean? But anyway, No Wrong Heroes is the one where people choose a figure to embody to gain dream power. So Thor chose to be Thor, which I think is funnier. That is funnier. Like, if you know much about Norse mythology, that's objectively hilarious to choose Thor above everything else. Also, apparently there are multiple people in chat now, so if you're there and kind of lurking, hello. Welcome. We are just chilling out and talking about Christmas bops and what our MCs do for a living. Cryptic is at least talking about what their MCs do for a living. I, again, have talked endlessly about what my characters do for a living, so it's like not... Like, Eleanor is a professional heiress, essentially. Like, the Paris Hilton of her times. But also it's Edwardian England, so, like, she's not really expected to work. She's supposed to be getting married and popping out children. The only reason why she's educated is because her father hoped that school would actually tame her a little bit, and that did not work. Cryptic said Thor chose Thor because of the Marvel movies, but that's even funnier. Like, not only because Thor and the Marvel movies and comic books, like, sure, there's some semblance to Norse mythology, but it's like an entirely separate concept. So, like, I hope Thor chose Thor, learned that Thor in mythology and Thor in Marvel comic books are two different beasts, got disappointed, and also got smacked with the other fun realization about Thor and Norse mythology. That would be amazing. Oh, we lost the viewer. No, I'm kidding. I am going to stop looking at that box because it had said that there were 0 viewers when you were actually in here. Yeah, like right now it says that there are 0 people, and I know Cryptic is still there, so like now it's kind of driving me insane. We still have 7 minutes until we're supposed to be starting writing things. It's, I guess it's supposed to be like a chill day. I'm gonna see if there's anybody in. Oh, Companion Wolf is not coming. Acknowledge that they're stuck at a party. And we know that, May is not supposed to be coming in until much later, so like it's probably just gonna be Cryptic and me just chilling out for a while. Cryptic incidentally says he's learning slowly but surely, and also it's so funny because Sherlock got her stuff based on literature. That is I oh, I need to ask about Sherlock, because like, was Sherlock expecting like BBC Sherlock and got literary Sherlock, or did something else happen there, or like did she know what she was getting into? But Thor just said Thor, so oh okay, so I understand. I should have read on. So Sherlock had actually specifically asked for literary Sherlock. That's cool. That is actually legitimately cool, because literary Sherlock is actually really badass. Um, but let's see. Thor just said Thor, so he's mythology Thor. Can't believe YouTube says I don't exist. Right? Like, clearly you should do something about this. Like, you should be like, I'm going to, I don't know, go rob a bank because, according to YouTube, I don't exist as a person. Don't do that. But, yeah, with the, let's see, more? Honestly, I'm so sad she's supposed to be a side character because I love my girl so much. That just means that you need to write side stories about her, or, like, do a spin-off. Like, that's why I'm strongly considering with some of my characters. My shamelessly herself, badass girl. Exactly. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know why you wouldn't just write a spin-off story, other than the fact that I'm encouraging you, despite the fact that you have 37,000 different ideas already, and and the response that you'll probably give me in like 5 seconds is, I have too many story ideas to write. But like, I would read about a girl who basically got magic powers based on literary Sherlock. But yeah, I guess just to briefly go over mine, like, we all know that Mick is a waiter. Mick would probably still be a waiter even if he had the choice about whether or not he could do anything else, because, like, it's Edwardian England. And hilariously, in the 90s AU, when he does have the option to do anything else, one thing that I never actually talked about was a potential sequel. And in the sequel, he gets so bored of not having all of his time filled out with work. Like, he goes to school and he's studying in an arts college, but then he's like, I feel bad that I'm not earning money to help upkeep our apartment. I'm getting a job, and he immediately gets one in retail, because that's where mixed value is. And honestly, that's exactly what would happen in TNS verse as well. Like, if these two ever retire, Mick would have the option to continue leading the dragons, but he's not a politician, so he'd pass it along to a dragon. Also, that would be less problematic. But I have visions of him literally just opening a bookshop or a music shop. Or like one of those shops where it's like you're selling sheet music and records, but you're also doing like lessons on the side. That would be his thing. Because Mick could get an education, and he probably eventually kind of sort of gets one, but it's more likely he's just like, well, I'm just going to work blue collar for the rest of my life, or I'm just going to work in a service industry for the rest of my life, because that's where I am. And then, of course, the other MCs, you've got, like, there's the barista, in my very first novel, which I will eventually get to. There's Lakos, who is a librarian for most of the story that he's in, but then he escapes to the real world, and the entire thing is that he's trying to find where he belongs in the real world. And I'm pretty sure he ends up as another librarian for like school kids or something like that. But Cryptic says, nah, I can fit in a side series about Sherlock and Watson, as you should, and I hope that Watson is also a girl. Anyway, it is currently 8:30, which means that now is a good time to start in on those word sprints. Not sure if anybody's actually viewing this. Looks like we do have some notifications. So we probably do have some viewers just hanging out there somewhere. And so, welcome, hello. We are going to get started with our first word sprint. Cryptic says, unfortunately he is not, but their relationship is still somehow queer as hell. Listen, bisexuality is still very queer. I will live and die on that hill. Like, that, you know me with, like, bisexuality or asexuality, like, all the other queer identities, under the queer umbrella are still very much queer, even if you're, like, in a quote-unquote straight relationship, because your gender does not erase your queer identity, essentially. Like, so, like, you can definitely have a male-female bisexual relationship, and it's queer. So, like, you don't have to be gay in order to be queer, period. Underlined. I don't care if that's controversial to anybody, that is how it works. But anyway. So, again, it's 8:30, so we're getting ready for our first sprint. I'm actually going to be working on a couple of things. First off, I do have chapter 16 up, and I'm going to do my best to hammer through it, but I also have, like, the December newsletter because I do have a newsletter, and I didn't realize that it's, like, November 30th tomorrow. So I'm going to be working on that, hopefully, at some point. Probably for the first sprint, I'm going to be working on my chapter. If anybody else is working on their stuff, on any kind of stuff, feel free to toss it into chat. If you don't realize there's a chat, click on the YouTube link that you're probably seeing on Blue Sky so that you can go to YouTube and find our open chat where you can talk to me, talk amongst yourselves, whatever you'd like to do. Otherwise, bring up your docs and get ready for the first sprint. It's going to be a 20-minute period of solid productivity. So shake out your wrists and flex your fingers. Make sure that your hands are nice and limber and ready. Please don't get like carpal tunnel syndrome on me, my dudes. Like, take care of yourselves. Make sure you have plenty of water at hand because it's going to be a quick 20 minutes. Make sure that you also take a few deep breaths. Just sort of relax yourself. I know that my voice is probably not helping, but like, relax yourself. And take a deep breath. Let it out. Because words will come easier if you're relaxed and you're in the mindset of just chilling out, letting words happen. Like, don't worry about what's going to happen. Don't worry about what's going on outside of your room right now. You're right here in the moment with me. And it's just going to be you and your dog. And it's going to be good. Always make sure that you have fun first and foremost. Because the best words are the ones that come out of happiness and peace and fun other stuff. You know what I mean? So, 8:34. There's 20 minutes on the clock. Make sure you're settled. Get to your docs. We're going to start in less than a minute. Alright. 8:35. I wish all of you the best of luck and have plenty of fun on this first sprint. Alright? And with that in mind, get ready, get set, and go. Alright, and that is our first sprint. While you guys count your words, I'm just going to finish this paragraph because I finally figured out what the hell I'm going to be talking about. It'll be just a moment, but right now I stand at 201. Feel free to talk about what you guys have been doing. Alright, and I'm going to stop for right now. That's an additional 47 words. It's still a bit of a slow bit. I might have spent a lot of that time looking up how dairy production in the Edwardian period worked. And the short answer is even at the turn of the century, we weren't really doing a lot of food shipping. It was still very local. Not that anybody would actually care, but I recently read an article about the meatpacking district and how the last actual meat packer was closing up shop this year. And first off, if you've ever been to the meatpacking district, it's not what it sounds like it is. It is currently mostly upscale retailers and restaurants that operate out of the old warehouses. So it looks like a bunch of warehouses in Lower Manhattan, but it's like there's a Crate and Barrel there. Well, so an upscale version of a Crate and Barrel, things like that. And it's such a difference from what it used to be. But the article went into detail about how, you would have all of these animals shipped in and broken down for processing right there, and then would be shipped back out via the railroad system. But this would happen every single day and that's how the city gods meet. So you'd have one node that was literally for processing food, and then it became more cost effective to transfer all that work out to factories and meat processing facilities in the Midwest, because technology in refrigeration specifically had advanced that far. It was basically a similar concept in Edwardian England with dairy production. You didn't necessarily have huge plants. What you had instead are the dairy farms, and they would be processing everything themselves and shipping things out once a day in the morning or twice a day if it's hot weather. And they would essentially be serving the town that was closest to them. So like, I still can't quite tell how widespread it would be, but or not how widespread, but like how far dairies would travel from their farms in order to, how many towns these little farms would actually service. So that is one thing that I'm trying to figure out. But it really doesn't matter. I feel like this little town that I'm building right now is just like a little dairy town that services the capital because it's right next door. So, but the point is, like, I'm trying to build up why Mick knows about this town and Eleanor doesn't. And the short answer is Eleanor doesn't care about small towns. She cares about Southwind and she cares about Eldavin. And she's happily surprised by the towns that she stumbles across, but like most of them are like, oh well, they're another town. They're only relevant to me if there's like a huge adventuring population there, or if it's a major node or a landmark that adventurers should be aware of. But other than that, like, this is a tiny ass little dairy town. Why would I know anything about it? It makes like, that's where we get our milk. But anyway, back to the chat. Void Raid Trini Corax, hello. I do believe this is your first time, so hello. Void Raid says, I don't really write much, so I'm just here to vibe, lol. I have been playing the Pokemon Infinite Fusion fan game, if that's anything. That is anything. I do miss how creative those fan games are. So I haven't heard of that one. Back when I used to be in the Pokemon fandom, everybody was talking about Reborn, I want to say it was, and Uranium, and that was like it. That's so like, I'm sure that there are so many new fan games out there, and the fan game community is just like insanely talented. Like, it takes a lot of effort to build an entire game up from scratch. So I hope you're enjoying, and also hell yeah to that. Oh, that's Corey. Hello, Corey. I'm gonna call you Corey because my dumbass brain cannot actually parse usernames sometimes. and Void Raid Trinity Corax is an awesome username, but I feel like I'm going to stumble on that. So, apologies. Cryptic says, I spent that time trying to locate the notebook I started writing No Wrong Heroes in, which I did find it. Okay, that's good. Because that would be a shame if you like lost all your notes and stuff like that. Cryptic says, with magic it makes sense to be able to ship things farther. Agreed. I'm trying to integrate more magic into the technology of this work in progress. There are many things that you can do with different spells. There used to be an ice element, but I took that out because people started asking what made it different from water, and I didn't want to be like, well, that's just JRPG logic. So you still have space where you can create pockets of pocket dimensions that are infinite in terms of, space. Like, you can basically TARDIS train car if you wanted to. And the idea was that time was suspended in there, but then people were like, well, how do things not rot inside these spaces? Space, not like time. So now, like, time's the one where it's like time is literally suspended. These items don't age. That's how I'm doing shipping. And it's probably broken. I have to come up with like ways that technology advances, considering the fact that magic just does everything. But I feel like it's kind of like you start experimenting with magic and integrating technology, and you find new ways to do fun things. So that is how shipping works. Basically, it's a combination of space in that you TARDIS whatever you need to make sure that you have enough room for everything, and a container that doesn't carry its weight. So like you can have a cardboard box that's full of that has a pocket dimension with shit tons of stuff in it, and if you pick it up it feels like a cardboard box. So there's that, plus if you combine it with space or time magic, then you have a cardboard box that fits anything, wherein everything inside never actually ages, nothing ever rots, it can be shipped wherever. However, the downside is this expends a lot of magic, so you can't do it infinitely. So there's that limitation at least. Corey says, my guy, the milk comes from there. Exactly. I just love that's I don't know, I just like talking about mixed level knowledge in general, because like he'll just know things just because he's in the food industry, and it's like you wouldn't expect him to actually have knowledge, and he's like, nah, that's just like common knowledge because I have this very specific skill set, and that's coupled with these very specific trivia questions. Like, do I know how to do magic? Do I know how to do politics? Do I know how to do medicine? No, and no. However, I do know this dumbass, stupid little factoid about this one tiny town, because that's where my family's restaurant gets their cheese. Like, Mick would probably be the most interesting and hilarious person to have on your trivia night team. Corey says, it lets you mash 2 Pokemon together to make a new Pokemon. Oh, that actually sounds like a lot of fun. I also might have seen, like, little clips of that. Like, I didn't realize that was an entire game. Like, I've seen, like, YouTube clips of people messing around with, like, this generator for, that combines different Pokemon, and then they would be, the results would be hilarious to them, essentially. I also realized I have not set the timer for a long break, so I've been, like, chattering, and I have no idea how long we've been going at it. So there's that. Cryptic says, do you want every Pokemon to be able to cure and weight it up? That's Infinite Fusion. I love that. I think I need to actually look into it and play it. Because, like, I don't really have that much of interest in playing new Pokemon games. Like, I've heard that Scarlet and Violet is actually really good in terms of the storyline, but, like, and I did have fun with, like, the DLCs of Sword and Shield, but, like, I recently sat down to try to play through older games, like a couple of them actually, because I found my old 3DS, which had a bunch of different games downloaded, like Sun and Moon. It had one of the Sun and Moon titles, it had like Red and stuff like that, and I played through and I was like, I am so bored with this. It's so weird. Like, I need to nuzlocke this shit or something like that, because I don't know. It just feels very repetitive to go through and grind and stuff like that. But the thing about the fan games is that they come up with all these really creative stories and these new features that are fun to mess around with. So, like, I need to, like, download more fan games and check them out. There's another one that I've heard of that I really want to try, which is, like, this knockoff of this revamp of Crystal. And it's supposed to feature, like, different modes built in, better storyline, cool features, all kinds of fun stuff. And I want to see the creativity that goes into these. Cryptic says, what makes water and ice different? And my opinion is ice is about temperature more than frozen water. That's what I tried to explain too, because that's same here. Like, ice is, you know, you're freezing things, and you're essentially messing with cold air and stuff like that. But then the more I thought about it, the more it kind of fell apart to me, and I couldn't quite hammer out what it, you know, the specifics of what it did. And considering the fact that all the other elements are, like, super detailed, they can do so many different things, I was like, I can't justify this anymore, so I switched it out for space, essentially. Corey says, yeah, ice magic could be more specifically cold magic or even a general temperature magic. Again, agreed. The only downside is I also had fire, which basically did the same thing but with heat and also a controlled fire. So it's sort of like difficult to justify a general temperature magic when fire is right there, in my opinion. So it was really difficult to justify keeping it. But I do think that in general, like in a JRPG setting especially, like ice is a hella valid element. Like, I am a Final Fantasy player, so like Final Fantasy 14, you have your 6 elements. It's like, you know, you have stone, you have wind, you have water, or it was like stone, fire, wind, water, then ice and thunder. So it's like, I don't know, like, to me it's just natural, and the elemental system in TNS is kind of like loosely based on that elemental wheel, but expanded to include more because I really wanted to have 12 deities, not because there are 12 deities in Final Fantasy, but instead because there are 12 deities in this one song. But, yeah, like, it was just like, I really didn't want to get rid of ice, because ice is an element in Final Fantasy as well, and ice is an element in Pokemon and every other JRPG, but, like, people kept on poking holes into it, so I was like, fuck it, let's just, if I can't come up with a solid justification that answers this across the board, we're just gonna replace it, and so I did. Cryptic says, should specify that I don't think all Pokemon are in Infinite Fusion. Sad voice. Like, what if I wanted to fuse all the Pokemon, you know? That's disappointing. Cryptic says Scarlet and Violet do have the advantage of 3 storylines that have their own stuff going on, but it is buggy. So I've heard. I had kind of hoped that they had patches to fix the bugs. Like, I've seen, like, screenshots of hilarious bugs going on, but I guess not. But, like, I also hope that the games are more than just the bugs, you know? Like, hopefully every Pokemon game has its bugs. Like, I remember Sword and Shields was hilarious. And then there was that entire thing, like, in Generation 6, where you literally straight up couldn't save in Lumio City without breaking your game. Like, it's tradition to have game-breaking bugs, or bugs that are just there and you exploit the shit out of them. Like, Missing No and tweaking in Gen 4. But, like, I hope that beyond the bugs, like, it is actually enjoyable. Like, the storylines, all 3 of them are actually enjoyable. The Pokemon, I mean, some of the designs I've looked at and I kind of think are cute, but, like, I also don't know about, like, the entire Paradox thing. I feel like that's another gimmick, and so much of the Pokédex seems to be taken up by it, and it's like, why? But, like, I hope that it actually is better than it looks from an outsider perspective, because I have not yet actually played Scarlet and Violet, but I can't justify paying $60 to do so. But I hope, for, you know, people's sake, that it actually is enjoyable and worth the $60. Not because I want to play it, but because, you know, that is a lot of hours. And also, it is a representation of where the Pokemon franchise is. Like, to be fair, Pokemon has never had a really good storyline. It's never had really complex gameplay. There are a bunch of very simple JRPGs for children, and story has never been, like, a huge deal. They've had their moments where they were like, okay, we now have a story, but, like, overall it's, like, not a priority, and I get it. But I also feel like the schedule that Game Freak has been put on for the last several years, where they'd be pushed to put out a game every year for a while, or they've been kind of, like, given insane deadlines, it's like the team just needs a break. And I hope that the games are better, because it means that, you know, they are now allowed to take breaks. And if the games are getting better, then that, to me, says that, yes, the breaks are necessary. And also, you know, things are getting better in the Pokemon franchise. I don't know if that even makes sense, but, like, you know, like, I do worry about the trend of having stupid-ass deadlines and letting work sacrifice as a result, is what I'm saying. Cryptic says, some of it is better now, I think, but you could also be like me and be lucky and not encounter most of them. I feel like glitches in general are actually rarer than people think. The downside with the Pokemon fandom is that they like to complain a lot, and they will use any kind of mishap or snag to say that the game is absolute shit. Like, I remember people complaining about the fucking trees in Sword and Shield, and how embarrassing they are. It's sort of like, that's... Some people are just, like, very much, they don't want to enjoy things. So, it's possible that the games are, you know, there are some bugs, but, you know, some people latch on to those bugs and be like, hey, you see, it's a pile of crap, you know. The franchise is slowly dying because this is an absolute shit game, and it's like just one bug that you have to work to get to. The story is fun, and the end of the Team Stars storyline was emotionally satisfying for me in a way I can't explain without saying how it ends. I mean, it will be completely out of context, so like, I will probably not understand anything that you say about the ending of that game. But so feel free also to spoil it. Scarlet Violet mostly had. Corey says Scarlet Violet mostly have visual bugs. There's not a lot of gameplay bugs from what I've seen. See, yeah, basically that's what I mean. So long as like the game is generally functional, even with the visual bugs, it's most likely like people latched onto these and put these on social media, and people blew it out of proportion. Because like bugs are always going to be a part of the game. They've been a part of the games from the get-go. It's just par for the course, really. I feel like there's bugs in every game in general because you have to realize these are made by human beings. There are bound to be mistakes, especially if you're pressed to work yourself to death to put out a new game, which I hope is not still the case with Game Freak. Cryptic says the paradox forms aren't actually as abundant as they seem, which is good. Cryptic says, to be fair, a lot of the glitches I saw people complaining about were getting stuck in walls and being unable to move and such. That is funny as hell. I really hope that's not actually a common thing. I know that you said that they're not super common, but still, I kind of hope that, you know, your likelihood of having that happen is not like over 10%. Cryptic also says, also Pokemon do spawn in walls, which is frustrating because they're hard to get, can be shiny, and there's no alert. That is fucking hilarious. See, I can live with that though. Like, if it's a Pokemon, oh well, I can just keep on moving. Even if it's shiny and even if it's rare. I will hurt a little bit, but that's still playable, in my book. Corey says Sword and Shield is a little visually whack, but to be honest, that's not really as important as the game working, which it does. I agree 100%. Like, the only time that I've really felt that was justified to say like this bug is terrible was that time whenever there was a very good likelihood that saving your game in Lumio City would destroy your game. Like, that's fair, because that is a $60 game, and that's a high chance that you could have destroyed your game without that patch. Like, that's bad. But everything else is, like, a visual glitch, or, like, you're taking your game life into your own hands, or, like, it'll be fixed with reset. Like, if it can be fixed with a reset, it's fine. It is just a thing that happens. Cryptic says, Team Star's story ends with a bunch of bullied kids getting a formal apology from the school for punishing them for standing up for themselves. I like that. I wish that was a thing that happened more frequently. Cryptic says it's not super common, but also it's inconsistent on what gets you stuck. So long as it's not super common, I think. Because, like, you can still theoretically play a game that's like that. So long as, like, it doesn't happen... Excuse me. So long as it's not, like, you have a 50% or over chance of getting stuck into a wall, I feel like that's still doable. Anyway, we're coming up to our next sprint. It's currently 9:21. We're winding down the clock on our first long break. In fact, I'm actually going to just go ahead and hit pause for that. And I think we'll start at like 9:25 because you know me and round numbers. It always has to be like a round number to get stuff done. So like at this point we can just sort of like take a deep breath and just sort of wind down and prepare ourselves for sprint number 2. But long story short, like, I think the main thing is, so long as the game is still playable, it's still a decent run, but like, Oakleaf says, hello, I am late, but hello, welcome, welcome. We're chatting right now about Pokemons. Corey says, when you do get stuck in Scarlet Violet, it's also really easy to just open the map and fly to a nearby spot. See, that's even better, because, like, you don't even have to reset your game. You're just, like, you can fix it on the go. And I get that, you know, it's frustrating. It might be, like, a little bit mid in terms of quality, but, like, most of, in my opinion, game quality stems from a combination of storyline and, you know, storyline and actual gameplay features. Bugs don't really get to me unless they, like, break your game. I brought up the Lumiose thing, but also, like, I remember this one time I had gone into a raid in WoW with a bunch of people, and I got stuck in a wall. Like, I couldn't actually reload the game because it would boot me right back there. I couldn't leave because my character had glitched into a wall and couldn't access the exit. I was just stuck, and I was angry because, like, I paid not only for the base game but also subscription, and you know, Blizzard had bugs like those, like, all over the game. They weren't super common, but, you know, they were. There was a very real chance that you could fuck around and end up with a character that's, like, stuck in a wall, and literally stuck, and you'd have to contact support in order to get unstuck, and it's like, that sort of thing kind of sucks. Also, World of Warcraft in general kind of sucks in terms of gameplay, in terms of storyline, in terms of community. Like, don't play World of Warcraft. Play the Final Fantasies. It is so much better on so many different levels. Oakleaf says, icebreaker answer. Currently, my main character is working on becoming an apothecary. Also excellent. I know nothing of the Pokemons. That is totally okay. But I fully support these apothecary dreams. Cryptic says, Blizzard sucks, to be honest. They do. And they always have. Like, I had been playing in 2010. They had not gotten better since, let's just say. Anyway, it is 9:25. Oakleaf says, stuck in a wall, unable to teleport out is an off-road glitch. Oh my god. Especially if you're paying money to play that game, yes. I was not happy, no. Especially since I had just... Sorry, yeah, I went full on red there. But yeah, especially since I had just paid for my subscription that day. So it was, like, super fun. But anyway, it is currently 9:26. I'm just going to go ahead and say that we shall start our next sprint in less than a minute. So if you're not already on your dock or notebook or what have you, please get to your docks, notebooks, or what have you. Settle in and take a deep breath. And I wish you the best of luck on this next sprint. 20 minutes are on the clock. And here we go. All right, and that is the next sprint. Let me just finish what I'm working on. Got 236 so far. How did everybody else do? Cryptic says, realized I hate the beginning of No Wrong Heroes. I mean, that's valid. I mean, you were basically working on the first draft, right? So, like, first drafts are kind of supposed to suck, and you're supposed to actually kind of hate them. You'll get unstuck, and you'll turn into a much tighter story the deeper you go into revisions. But, like, if you absolutely hate it and can't imagine actually building a story from it, you know, experiment with possibly rewriting it, seeing what else you can do with a first chapter, and then go from there. But I fully encourage, like, getting back into the saddle with no wrong heroes, you know? You gotta start somewhere. Oakleaf says, not sure word count, but I'm getting into a scene. Totally okay. That is still good progress. Hell yeah for getting into a scene. As for me, it's, I keep on making excuses, but honestly, it's like, getting started in a new scene is always the hard part. Once I get to the parts that I'm hoping to get to, like, I'm supposed to be getting Eleanor to a church so she meets her brother, and Kira, who is possibly the second best non-main character in the entire series. Kira is the trans cat girl mecha pilot, and also Etienne's assistant, Etienne being Eleanor's brother. So, very excited to bring her and Etienne into the book. Hopefully it's going to be a more truncated version of what I was doing the last time around. And it should be a very quick one-scene chapter, but just getting to that part, describing St. Nadia's, and sort of like building up what's going on with Mick and Luca, because last chapter was all about Mick not trusting Luca because Luca had just joined the party, and Mick is, of course, Mick. He doesn't trust anybody at first glance, and he certainly doesn't trust somebody who just who's a con artist, and B, just invited themselves. But, like, last chapter was all about him kind of, sort of, starting to trust her, and now Eleanor's like, okay, go off and explore. But the first half of the chapter is, like, Luca kind of, like, messing with Mick, and Mick just, like, falling for it anyway. But yeah, it's, once I get past this part, it should be fun. Cryptic says, yeah, all the characters have just developed since I first started writing this draft, so none of them sound like themselves, and also too much happens too fast. In that case, for sure, I would recommend actually just starting over with that draft, because, like, if you develop the characters to the point where they're not actually resembling, they don't actually resemble what you have in your first chapter, then it's like, that's not much of a foundation. 100% like experiment with the first chapter and see what happens, you know? And Oakleaf is also contributing to this discussion, saying that's as it should be. You didn't know them when you started, like you know them now. You can go back and fix it with what you know now anytime. For sure. Yeah, like, if you don't feel like writing the first chapter again, you can totally just skip it and go back to it later. Especially if you're not, like, a chronological writer, as a lot of people are. Like, there are other people, like Sleepy Owl writes on Tumblr, who is very openly, I cannot write in chronological, or I will have a scene, I will write that scene, and then I'll go back and write other scenes to kind of fit that scene into. If you write like that, you should totally be like, go after whatever inspires you now. But, like, I would 100% encourage you to throw out that chapter if it's, like, doesn't fit your current vision, for sure. Oakleaf says, oh yeah, transitioning between scenes is hard, lol. Yeah, and it's not my favorite thing to do in this one, because, like, when they transition, it's always to a new setting. So like now I have to world build the new setting as well as get to the fun parts. Like they're not just sitting around and going from one bit to the next for the most part, so it's always fun. Also, last couple of chapters has been action-packed, so it's like we're in a swing, slow beat, even though technically this is going to be an action-packed chapter towards the end too, but it's like, ugh. But anyway. I'm also kind of like giving myself a rest. I might actually launch into continuing to write in just a moment, just to keep things flowing. But at the moment, it's like my throat's kind of like blah. So I'm kind of like giving myself a chattery rest. Also, it seems like it's a downturn in terms of the chat right now, so I'm taking advantage of it. Like, I could go off on a tangent, but I kind of don't want to at the moment. I just kind of want to vibe for a second. So feel free to enjoy the jazzy Christmas music while I rest for a bit. Probably get more water too. Speaking of, water check for all of you. Hydrate or dehydrate. Hydration is important to the creative process. So. Alright, well, I am back with some water. Gave my vocal cords a nice little rest. One thing that I have an automatic capture or caption tool that's built into OS X or OBS or whatever you call this program, and it's designed to automatically pick up my voice and interpret what the caption should be. And sometimes, I don't know, like, sometimes it just, like, captions absolutely nothing. Like, I noticed that it flashed good morning while we were in the last sprint and it was dead silent. So it's like, it's kind of freaky. I kind of want to know what's up with that. I have ghosts and they're very polite, I guess. I only bring that up because, like, I did not see what was doing while I was up and about, so like I kind of do also want to see if it was doing anything. Not that any of you would know, but anyway. Anyway, less than a minute until our last sprint of the night. This is going to be the third sprint. It will be another 20 minutes, and then we'll wrap up and chatter and do whatever. But if you haven't already gone to your docks, get back to your docks and prepare for one more sprint. Alright. So, 10 o'clock, technically it's 10:01. Shake out your wrists and your fingers. Take a deep breath. And good luck on this very last sprint. Here we go. Alright, that is the last sprint of the night. How did we do? I might have done a little bit better. Let me see, where do I start? There we go. 465, which isn't bad considering the fact that I spent most of that distracted. That is interesting. Also, hello, Companion Wolf. Unfortunately, you came during the last sprint of the night, but how are you? Otherwise, how did everybody else do with the sprint? Cryptic said, I swept popcorn out from under my desk. That is definitely excellent progress because that doesn't sound pleasant to step on. Companion Wolf says, doing okay, sleepy. That is fair. It sounds like you had a very long day and you just came back from a party, so that's fine. Understandable in any case. Cryptic says it is not pleasant at all. Exactly, like, popcorn comes with, like, those weird shards. Like, and kernels. So it feels, like, rough on your feet and stuff like that, so yeah. Oakley says, hate when the sharp bits get between your teeth. Exactly. I also used to wear braces, and that was even worse. Like, imagine having bits stuck in front of your teeth and in between them. Like, popcorn tastes so good, and such a good snack, but oh god, like, it's so painful to eat, with or without braces. Okay says same braces are the worst. They really are. Like, sure, my teeth look great. They certainly look better than they were when I was a kid. And I mean that not just like I'm an adult, so therefore, in general, I look less like a weird mop of a dog that I was as a child. But like, even like when I got those things off, I did actually look better. But like, it was such a pain to go through. Companion Wolf says, what was everyone working on tonight? Personally, I was working on chapter 16 of TNS. I've gotten up to the part where things happen, at least. But I think everybody was like working on a whole bunch of different stuff. I know that Cryptic was had dug up an old whip and was working on that, but I will let them also talk about that in chat. Cryptic says, I tried to work on No Wrong Heroes only to realize I need to start over, which is fair. Basically, we had talked about this earlier in one of the breaks, but basically, Cryptic had found the first chapter and it did not serve their current concept of who the characters are. So, like, I still encourage you to start over. It's definitely a good decision to start over, Cryptic. But I wish you the best of luck on this new rewrite. Hopefully it is far better, for sure. Oakleaf said, still drafting Noosed Whip. MC is trying to get his elf companion out of the trouble by pretending to be his wife. LOL. That is adorable. I get the feeling that is definitely going to work out and absolutely no problems will happen whatsoever, which are both very much lies. I am looking forward to reading what goes down. Cryptic says, as long as I don't have Michael punching anyone again, I should be fine. That's fine. That it should be hopefully easy enough. Okay, well, I know that I kind of wound down at the end of this, and I think it's just because I've been chatting so much. Normally I don't have a problem with doing so, but like tonight it's like the first couple of lead-ups and breaks, it was okay, and then all of a sudden my mouth is like, I do not want to do this. So I'll go over the schedule. I know that was a little bit all over the place, but long story short, tomorrow is a definite no to another stream. Basically, I'm going out to the city. I'm going to enjoy myself. I have a ticket to go to the Museum of Modern Art. There are exhibitions that I want to see, namely, Starry Night is a permanent addition to the MoMA collection, but it is specifically housed as part of an exhibition into 1920s artist work, because that said 1920s artist, goddamn, what was it? Lily P. Bliss. It is an exhibition on Lily P. Bliss, who's not a super familiar artist to me, but like I have seen a little bit of her work, and it's almost like a modern take on Impressionism. Is very much, it's very beautiful. I will say this. It's early 20th century art, and that is my jam in general. But basically, Bliss's work helped found MoMA. Well, not necessarily help found, but help generate enough money for MoMA so that she make, so that the museum can do things like acquire Starry Night. But Starry Night is included in that, and that is one of my favorite paintings of all time. I'd say that that's not necessarily my absolute favorite Van Gogh. My favorite Van Gogh is actually one of his self-portraits. His self-portrait collection in general is absolutely amazing. Like, each of them are vibrant, and they tell so much about how he sees himself. As most self-portraits do, but the later ones especially, you can just sort of see so much emotion in each painting, and it's absolutely beautiful. But Starry Night is definitely up there as well, along with certain iterations of Sunflowers. But basically, tomorrow's going to be a MoMA visit, which means, and you know that I never do streams when I go into the city, because usually what happens is I don't really have a set schedule for how long I visit the city. So sometimes it's only for a couple of hours and I come back, but most of the time it's like I spend all day there, even if I'm by myself. Which actually is getting rarer and rarer. Like, usually if I go into the city, somebody finds out about it and they're like, let's go hang out. Which is good. Because I need to connect with people more, and I need these connections. So it's been good. But tomorrow I plan on being essentially on my own. And I'm going to MoMA. I'm enjoying the holiday market that's on Bryant Park. And I have no plans on when I'm coming back. We'll see. So, 0 stream. Point being. Sunday, I am planning on sticking around at home. I haven't decided if I'm going to go out to, like, local parks, or if I'm just going to straight up stay home all day. It really depends on what the weather's going to be like. But there's like a 50-50 chance that there will be a stream that night. Watch Blue Sky for further updates. Then Monday and Wednesday, as usual, are no stream days because I'm raiding. So neither of those days I will be around. Tuesday, however, is a free day for me because basically D&D is not happening. It happened last week. So there might be a stream. There will very likely be a stream. Continue checking Blue Sky, or keep an eye on Discord for further updates. Thursday, possible stream. I know that's our regular day, but I am also doing something before then, and fingers crossed it doesn't run too long. But if it does, then oopsie doodles. Friday is very likely no stream whatsoever because I am working that day. It's just one of those things. It's an all-day affair where my work is doing an event. So no stream on Friday. Saturday also no stream because I'm going into the city. Sunday is very likely going to be the next stream after that. So unlike usual, Thursday and Friday are not guaranteed. Sunday, this coming Sunday, is the most likely. Tuesday is the most likely. So one of those days you will see me again. Then you probably won't see me until the Sunday afterwards. Later on this month, I just bought my train ticket to go see my family out west nebulously. So that's going to be, I'm hopping a train on the 21st, and I won't be back until about the 28th or that weekend. So after this coming week, you will have, let's see, how many more weeks is that? Let's see. after this coming week, you have exactly 2 more weeks of streams. The week of the 16th will be the last stream week of the year. And then we'll be back up to our regular schedule in the 2025. I mean, we're going to be back up to our regular schedule the week of the 8th as well. It's just that this week is going to be so fucking insane that things are going to happen. But I do believe, other than like a few daytime events, there's not really anything going on Thursday and Friday. So hopefully those will be calm. Then after that, you know, same week as usual, and then disruption via holidays. But other than that, long story short, like I said, next time you will see me is very likely this coming Sunday. Keep an eye on Blue Sky. But let me go back to the chat for the last bits. Cryptic says, and also maybe Hercules needs to start punching, but you know, totally valid. Oakleaf says, no worries, it's a holiday, it's a holiday weekend, the energy drops. Basically, yeah. I'm trying to keep it as low-key as possible. It is Friday night, and I only have Saturday and Sunday left, and I just need more time for a break, but time is not really a thing that I get too often anymore, but we'll see. Companion Wolf says, ooh, visiting Momosh sounds fun. I'm hoping it will be, like, or at least I have no doubt. I like visiting art museums and just looking at art. That is my jam. I am kind of, I wouldn't say an art history nerd because that implies that I am an expert and I'm really only, like, fangirl of Van Gogh to the point of being able to cite cite a lot of facts about Van Gogh's life. But, like, you know, I like learning about art history and looking at different time periods of art and just studying art in general. So, and MoMA and the Guggenheim are the only 2 famous New York museums I've never been to. I haven't been to a number of other ones. Like, I haven't been to, let's see, I haven't been to the Cloisters yet. That is on my to-do list for the spring when things get a little bit, when the weather's a little bit better. But it's like, Cloisters are a little bit out of the way, and it's really only if you're into medieval French art. But, you know, it's still on my bucket list. I have also not really been to certain private collections. I know that there are a couple of collections up in the Upper East Side, and you know, I could go to them, but it's sort of like, they're the smaller museums, so But like the MoMA and the Guggenheim are like world famous museums. I've never been to either of them. But I've been to every other museum, famous one in New York quite a few times. Like, the Met is still one of my absolute favorite places to go in the city. I've been to like the Natural History Museum on the other side, which is not an art museum, but you know, I've been to a museum. I've been to like you know, point is, like, I've been to a lot of different landmarks in New York City that you've probably heard of, but like, I still have a huge bucket list, and I want to make time to actually do that because, like, I haven't super enjoyed the city in my 10 years of being here, and I don't know, like, since breaking up with the boyfriend, all of a sudden I feel like I want to go out and do adventures again, because like I was supposed to share all these things, and then he was like, nope, so fuck it, I'm going to experience the things myself. Oakleaf says, I'm very fond of the irises, but also the almond blossoms. Both excellent. Almond blossoms especially, like, if you see it in person. I've actually gone across the pond, and I've had the opportunity to go to the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. And I was face to face with the almond blossoms, and I have to say, like, I used to work for a stationery company, and Almond Blossoms was one of the prints that we'd use on a lot of our stationery. But oh my god, it's so much more vibrant in person and so much more beautiful. And it's like, that's one of my favorites as well, just because, like, the difference that you experience when you've seen this print all your life and all of a sudden you're face to face with an actual Van Gogh with all those colors and all those brush strokes, and it's just mind-blowing. It's an experience, and honestly, 100%, if you ever have an opportunity to go see an actual Van Gogh, go see a Van Gogh. Like, prints do not do any of those paintings justice. Oakleaf says, if you're ever in Baltimore, I recommend the Walters. It's not well known, but it has cool art and also old artifacts and armor and stuff. I will keep that in mind. I have to admit that I've never really made plans to go to Baltimore. But I tend to hop around. Like, I still play Ingress. And Ingress, I'm not going to go into a huge explanation of what that is because, like, it is difficult and a rabbit hole, but basically sci-fi Pokemon Go. And they still have events all over the country, and now and then they'll stick one in Baltimore. So if they ever do that again, I'll go and check that out. But other than that, like, I'm very much a northern girl. I don't really have, well, Northern Nebulous Blob. It's a girl day, I guess. I'm finding myself referring to myself in girl terms, but non-binary things now and then, I guess. But basically, I don't really have too many travel plans right now, especially for next year. It really depends on where I am. Like, I'll have PTO reset, but you know, I'm trying to find a different job, and life is probably going to get a little bit weird around the beginning of summer because, you know, I have to decide whether I'm staying in this apartment or moving somewhere else. It's going to get a little bit messy, but long story short is I haven't made any plans to travel outside of New York City, and that's why I'm visiting all these New York City locations. I live in New York City, and it's like, I need to experience New York City at some point, but like, at most, like, you know, I don't really have too many plans about what else I want to do next year. Oakleaf says, hell yeah the freedom of being single. Yeah, honestly, like, I still miss him, and I still miss having somebody to talk to every day. I miss how he makes me laugh, and I miss how I miss having my squishy at the end of the day to cuddle up to. But at the same time, he's kind of like, he pulled the ultimate dick move, and like, what can I say? Like, literally also because he kind of ghosted me and all kinds of other fun things. So, like, fuck it. I'm just going to enjoy life, and, you know, whatever happens, happens. And if he wants to walk back in, he can give me $30,000, and then we can talk about it. But, other than that, like, now it's like, he's not in my life right now, so I'm gonna fill it with as many fun things as possible and enjoy life. And then if something else comes along, or if somebody else comes along, cool. But, you know, I'm just kind of like chilling and doing whatever I want, and it's going to be great. Okay, girl, gender neutral. Companion says girl, but to the left, basically. Oakleaf says, I sometimes call myself girl adjacent. Companion Wolf says, doesn't deserve to be squishy. And girl adjacent is basically, yeah. My gender is specifically whatever I vibe as, both to you and in the moment. Sometimes I'm like, my gender is gender neutral butch. Like, the butch lesbian who is, who looks like she'd be mistaken as a man. Sometimes I am also twink dude who is delighted by being called sir. And sometimes I'm just like, nothing. I don't have a body. What are you talking about? But today is a girl day, I guess. Companion Wolf says, doesn't deserve to be the squishy, in my opinion. But yeah, you're right. He doesn't deserve to be the squishy. Unless he fucking apologizes and does better. But he doesn't want to do better, so fuck it. You're not squishy anymore, sir. Cryptic says, my gender is whatever is scariest to whoever is addressing me. That is fair. But anyway, I think that's basically it for today. I'm going to log off and poke at Final Fantasy until about 3 in the morning, then curl up in bed, sleep, go, oh shit, I'm supposed to go to a museum, why did I stay up this late? And then I'm going to go, and I'm going to have a bagel and some cream cheese, and then go see paintings, and then go buy overpriced museum cafe food, then go to a holiday market and buy overpriced hot cocoa, and it's going to be a fun time, and it's going to be a lot of money that I shouldn't be spending, but it's like, you enjoy yourself sometimes. Let's just pray that I don't find any pretty looking journals along the way. I am going to a museum gift shop, and I'm going to buy all the overpriced journals, and I'm going to be very sad when I look at my bank statement. But it's going to be so worth it. But in any case, I will see you guys very likely on Sunday. Thank you all for coming, and thank you all for just chilling out with me on this Friday night. I hope you have an excellent weekend, because again, I'm not seeing you until Sunday, which means that you guys have an entire weekend without me. I hope that whatever you're planning is going to be awesome. I've talked a lot about my plans, but may yours be just as excellent. And yeah. Good night, everybody. And take care. And we'll pray Charles be upon you. Thank you very much, Corey. Good night, everybody.